Hey guys, welcome back. So it's warmed up and we're resuming our testing of various handguns. It's become known as the Gauntlet test. And so we're going to kick things off this season with the new Remington RP9. Now I have two of these guns, and this one is the second gun that I purchased that in my second video ran flawlessly, had no problems. I still have the original gun, which had a few problems. It started to straighten up, but it still had a few problems, but I'm going to use the one that I know for certain works, at least with the ammunition I tested in my second video regarding the RP9. Now what I don't know is if this pistol will work with the Fiocchi 124 grain ball that we've been using in all of our tests up until this point. So I have 18 rounds loaded of the Fiocchi 124 grain ball, and I'm just going to confirm function with the handgun. They're going to have to stop, load 10 rounds into the magazine because I only have 4 magazines for it this afternoon, and then we'll resume, or I should say begin, the testing of the Remington RP9. So let's go ahead and just fire 18 rounds real quick. All right, so the gun likes the Fiocchi ammo. It's working just fine. We did clean the gun and oil it this morning. You can still see the lube on the gun, glistening. So it's lubed up, ready to go. We're gonna stop real quick. Yeah, just follow me. Load 10 rounds. This is the Fiocchi ammo. I'll load 10 rounds here really quick. And now we're going to head over here. The first test is just water. Going to take the handgun, make it ready as if it were being carried. Just going to lay it in the water, wait till all the bubbles stop coming out of the gun. And then fire those 10 rounds. Locks open just fine. All right, now we go over to the sand, make the weapon ready. I'm just going to lay the gun in the sand, push it down a little bit. The other side, push it down just a little bit. And then I'm going to fire those 10 rounds. One failure to go into battery. Okay, I could push it closed. It did not fire. And locks open. All right, now I'm going to rinse the gun off. Get the sand off of it. All right, we'll make the gun ready again, and we'll move over to the dirt. Again, just going to lay it in the dirt and push it down on one side. Then I'll push it down on the other. And 10 rounds. The ejection's getting really weak. The rounds are just kind of bobbling up and down over the ejection port. Luckily, none of them fell back in, but it did lock open. That's a good sign. And then the last test, after we rinse it off a little bit, is the mud test. All right, this is probably the hardest on the guns, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the mud and just push it down. And do the same thing on the other side. And then fire the last 10 rounds. And it locks open. Guys, it actually did pretty good. We had one hiccup, a failure to go into battery. The round was lined up perfectly, but it just didn't have enough oomph to push it in. Other than that, it just ran the basic tests with only one malfunction. That's actually pretty good. So now it's going to move over to the Gauntlet, which means we're going to go from water, fire, straight to sand, fire, straight to dirt, fire, straight to mud. All right, so we're not going to do the rinsing cycle in between, and we're going to see how the gun fares. And we're going to have to stop for a moment, load up some ammunition in the magazines, and start over. Now keep in mind, guys, the second test is really designed to cause most handguns to malfunction, and most of them do. It's very rough on the guns. The fact that the Remington only had that one bobble with just the sand kind of impresses me. All right, guys, let's load up some magazines, come back, and run this thing through the Gauntlet. All right, guys, magazines are loaded back up and we're ready to put the RP9 through the Gauntlet. Now, keep in mind, I want to stress this once again, This is really hard on any gun because we're just going to go from one element to the next without the rinsing cycle in between. We have not changed the water, we have not cleaned the gun, lubricated it, or the magazines. This is the same thing we've done to all of them. Now the Gauntlet testing, I think maybe in the history of the Gauntlet testing, we've had one gun pass it without a single malfunction, and that was the Rec Zero, but you have to refer back to last season's videos to find out for sure. I have to look at them again, but I'm pretty sure the only gun to actually make it through this test was that Rec Zero pistol. So here we go. Load up 10 rounds. Make the weapon ready. It's a little bit sluggish. And 10 rounds. Nothing. All right, did not lock open. All right, so we had one malfunction from the water. The gun's action is very sluggish. You want to push it down into the sand, and we just kind of put some sand over it. Push it down on the other side, just kind of put some sand over it, and fire 10 rounds. Dead trigger. It's not quite in battery. Let's see if we can just, well, I don't think that's going to make it fire. Maybe. Yep, not in battery. We have a malfunction. So I'm going to go ahead and try to clear it. All right, dead trigger. Actually went click and no bang. And a failure to extract and eject. Failure to feed. Guys, this really puts a lot of, okay, that's it. This really puts a lot of garbage into the gun. Even though it doesn't really look like it, we'll break the gun down here in a minute and show you what it looks like. But despite the fact that it's just being laid in these elements, a lot of the guns struggle with this. This isn't the only gun to have problems. All right, we're going to go to the dirt. We may have to call this test if it doesn't make it through this. It's definitely not going to make it through the mud. Push it down, put a little bit of dirt over it, flip it over, push it down, put a little bit of dirt over it. All right, 10 rounds. Dead trigger. Did not eject the spent case. Dead trigger and failure. Now that's, you see how that round was kind of laying there? That was laying there like that. That may have caused the failure, but we've seen this type of failure once before, so I'm just guessing the slide velocity is way down. All right, I can feel the slides just really gritty, guys. That was so slow I could actually feel the slide go clunk, clunk. I don't know if it picked up a round or not. It picked up a round but didn't get it underneath the extractor. So I'm going to go ahead and have to clear that out. All right, it's clear. And failure to eject. And then we're going to have a double feed. All right, make the weapon safe. I got to go in front of the barrels here. Grab the magazine. All right, move back around. All right. Not surprising. This has killed a lot of guns. I mean, it's having a very, very hard time. But what the heck? We got a magazine load. Let's put it in the mud, see if we can kill it. I mean, we already have, I guess, but let's see what happens. Put it in the mud, push it all the way down, get mud over it. This is how I get really dirty. Notice I have a rain poncho on this time. Other side. All right. I'm just going to clear a spot for my trigger finger here really quick. And here we go. Even if this thing fires once, I'm going to get coated in mud. All right. I don't know what it did there. Is that a failure to eject? Let's see. So it's getting the rounds up there. That's surprisingly I mean, that's kind of good, I guess. I'm just having to tap it closed. Ah, failure to eject. Lost a live round there. And that trigger, there we go. I knew it. That trigger was really, it was like missing, guys. I was pushing on the trigger and nothing was happening. It was going all the way to the rear, and I've seen that before, so I knew it was going to fire. And so I just kept doing it until it engaged, and then it just fired and actually hit the steel target. So I'm going to go ahead and stop, guys, because the gun's going to be unsafe from here on out. Let's just call the test. There was an empty case still in the chamber. All right. All right, guys. Through the basic tests, it looked like the gun did fairly well. It only had one hiccup, and that was here with the sand, and then it made the rest of the testing just fine. That was kind of impressive. I was surprised to see the gun did so well. In the Gauntlet, we started having problems right out of the gate. We had problems in the water, sand, dirt, and mud, and the gun's just so gunked up now that the trigger bar inside there in its sear engagement is screwed up. So you pull the trigger all the way back, nothing happens. And if you keep pulling it enough, you'll actually get the gun to fire. And so we saw that as well this afternoon. So the gun was unsafe. We stopped the testing, and this is how we wound up. So I'm gonna kind of sit here and chat with Sam a few minutes, talk about the results, and then we'll close this video out. All right, guys, so Sam and I were talking about the testing that we saw this afternoon, and I would say the first elemental test, where we just lay the gun in each one of the elements and rinse it in between each stage, the gun did fairly well. It was only one malfunction.
Yeah, only the one there in the sand. I believe it was a failure to go completely into battery. That was the common theme throughout the rest of the test, as both of us observed, was the dirtier the gun got, the more sand, mud, dirt, and water you introduced to the system, the more sluggish the slide got. It could be grit in the actual action spring. It could be the slide rail tolerances not being conducive to having that much foreign objects in there. It could be one of many things. Obviously, you guys have seen Tim's previous videos on this pistol and our opinions on it, but I think that getting through the elements test with only one small hiccup is fine.
Yeah,
it's other reasons that we don't like the pistol as well.
Yeah, I mean, the gun has some of its issues, and those are well documented. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but the gun did surprisingly well in the elemental test, which is the test that we expect all guns to pass. It doesn't get any more rudimentary than just simply laying it in each one of these elements. It's no different than if you just dropped your gun in the dirt and you picked it up to use it. When we designed these tests, we expected every gun to pass, but we realized very quickly that some guns simply won't. I don't know if I'd give this a pass because it did have that one bobble, but it did good. I would say the gun did on average what we've seen.
I would say it landed around in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, so it did fairly well. When we got to the Gauntlet stage, I mean, really, guys, it started having problems right out of the gate. Had problems with the water, sand, dirt, and mud all the way down. That test, we don't really expect any gun to pass, but we've seen guns get two-thirds of the way through before they choke.
Yeah.
Some guns, like the Rex Zero, made it all the way through.
Or we've had some guns that have had hard malfunctions to where they've been inoperable or completely unsafe to use. This one had multiple out of batteries, meaning the round would extract and it would fail to put the next live round fully into battery. And you saw Tim bumping the rear of the slide. Some of them we had stovepipes, but there were no, would you say there were no fight-ending malfunctions?
No,
I mean, obviously you don't want to run into that, but there were no I have to stop and take my gun apart
and clean it before it's going to work. So we could get the gun back up and firing at least one round at a time, which is something you want to see in the guns. And I'll show you guys some pictures. We'll take some pictures of it. I'll tear this down and show you guys just how dirty the gun is on the inside. And I'll just kind of roll those over into the video. So I'd say the gun did about average. It wasn't the worst. It didn't have any hard malfunctions. We saw the SIGs do that.
Yeah.
The SIGs would get so messed up that you couldn't even run the slide. You had to stop the test because the gun was literally inoperable. And we had to beat it against one of these barrels to get the thing to release. We didn't see any hard malfunctions like that. So in that regard, this thing is actually probably more reliable than a SIG P226. So, it is what it is. But yeah, I was really surprised. Now, I don't know what would have happened with my first gun. I think there's something probably wrong in the manufacturing on that gun, and that's the reason it was having problems. And this gun has never caused us any problems. I've put at least 500 rounds through it, and it's never had a malfunction outside the testing that we've done here today, which is expected. So, I mean, I can't say it's thumbs up. It's neutral. I mean, I would trust the gun to go bang if I was using it for self-defense.
Sure. I mean, it wouldn't be neither of our first choices, but as Tim's mentioned in the previous season of all the Gauntlet tests, guys, this is for entertainment purposes. You can look at it as what it is. We try to design the most scientific styles
as we could given our budget. Yeah.
But this does not, like he's mentioned before, this is a sample size of one. It's one gun we did to the test. Don't take this as meaning that this gun is complete and total garbage and you should never look at it.
No.
Just watch the video, enjoy it,
Right.
talk about it, whatever.
And that goes with any opinions on any firearms that we talk about here on the channel. Don't go and buy a gun just because I may like it, and certainly don't sell a gun because I don't like it. The RP9, it has its fleas. Those are well documented. In terms of functional reliability, again, I'd say it did okay.
Yeah,
right?
It landed in the middle of the pack.
It did better than others and more expensive offerings by far.
Yeah, on the way to the range today, we were kind of hypothesizing what we thought would be happening with this test, and I gave it a greater chance of complete and utter failure, but I was honestly a little more than surprised at how it did.
I was kind of thinking it would probably make it through the first round of tests okay, but I didn't expect it to make it through the Gauntlet. But I don't expect too many guns to make it through the Gauntlet. No. But I was really pleasantly surprised. I thought when I had that first hiccup, I thought, uh-oh, it's done. It wasn't. The only thing we saw happen was the slide velocity started to slow down.
Yep.
Right? We saw the ejected shells go up and just kind of fall gently to the side of the gun, which can cause a malfunction if they go up and straight back into the action of the gun. But we didn't really see that. We saw one round land on top of a round that was loading, but I can't say that actually caused a malfunction because when the gun was tilted to the side, that spent case fell off. Also, the only other gun that I've seen this happen on so far was the VP9 when I was throwing it in the creek. The VP9 had a similar malfunction where I knew there's a round in the chamber. I pull the trigger, nothing happens. Pull the trigger, nothing happens. That's why I kept the weapon down range, because I was going to see if it was actually going to hook and if that connection was going to be made between the trigger bar and the sear. And bang, it finally went off. I'd seen that before with the VP9, so that's why I was very cautiously doing that. And that unnerves me a little bit, because really there's not much ingress points into this gun, so pretty much the stuff that's getting into it has to be doing it at the moment of firing. It's just stuff's just working its way down into the gun as it's opening and cycling. And anytime you have a trigger bar running against a flat surface and there's really not enough give around it, you can start to see it bind up once it gets a little bit of dirt inside there and makes for an unsafe gun. But I won't say that's horrible, because again, it happened only during the Gauntlet test. Kind of running in circles. Okay guys, I'll leave it up to you. I mean, this is what we think of it. We just watched this happen, but you guys be the judge on how well it did. You know, Sam and I both agree that we think it did okay. It didn't do the worst, and it didn't do the best, but it definitely wasn't the worst. All right guys, if you have any questions, you can always ask those questions down below. If you'd like to support the Military Arms channel, you can do that by swinging by and checking out the Patreon page. It's a subscription service that really helps us out here at the channel to keep us being able to do things like this. I do want to pick up more handguns for you guys. A lot of requests. Some of the guns I don't have, but I would like to pick them up and be able to do this testing on them, and the Patreon page would help us do that. Also, please swing by and check us out at Copper Custom. That's coppercustom.com. If you'd like to support us, that's another way you can do that. Swing by and shop at our store. And also, please be sure to check out full30.com. That's full30.com. We've taken all the web's best firearms content creators and brought them under one roof. That is full30.com. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for all those years of support. We'll talk to you guys soon. Sam, you want to say anything goodbye or anything?
See you later.
See you later.
See you in the comment section.
That's a good one.
All right, guys, we're here packing up for the day. We rinsed off the RP9 with tap water. It's stripped down internally, bone dry. Obviously, there's a little bit of debris on the outside of the gun, but the inside has been thoroughly rinsed off, and like I said, bone dry, no new lube. I got 20 rounds of that Fiocchi ammo in here. Both Tim and I, there you go. That was just a standard slingshot, and the gun still is not going into battery. All right, and here's what's gonna happen. I've already shot a couple rounds, and we picked up the camera to show you guys this. The action feels extremely sluggish. You can almost feel the slide like cha-chunk, cha-chunk every time it goes. It's extremely sluggish, and you're getting failures to fully go into battery with every round. There's that. That's failure to go into battery. There you go. Again, failure to go into battery. That was a dead slide. Failure to go into battery when I slingshotted it. Failure to go into battery. Dead slide. And then how I'm going to show you, I'm going to slingshot all the way back. Let it go. There, it went into battery because I like... Jeez, come on. All right. Failure to go into battery. Dead slide. That was a failure to eject. It's a failure to eject, I'm guessing. Yep. There's the spent brass. There's the new round. Failure to go into battery again. Failure to go into battery. I'm guessing this is a dead slide again. Yep. Failure to eject. So it's actually almost rechambering the spent brass. So it's not ejecting. It's not picking up another round. It's actually feeding that spent brass back into the chamber, but not fully. Again, this is really not good. Yep, it's not ejecting at all. So there's not enough power. Okay, that ejected, that's a live round, but now it high fed it. So now I've got a different type of malfunction where I'm gonna need to strip the mag out, get that gun out of the gun, or get that gun out of the gun, get that ammo out of the gun, recharge it, keep shooting it. And that was it. There you go, guys. That's okay. I did not do anything to this gun but rinse it off, reload a magazine, and come shoot it for you guys. That's all I did. So I'm gonna take it apart so you can see the inside of it here. Like I said, there's nothing going on with this guy. This was rinsed off in tap water, and that's all. And we had multiple failures to go back into battery, multiple failures to extract, and overall extreme sluggishness with the action, as you guys could see there on that video. I didn't have 2 rounds go off in succession with each other for that whole 12 rounds in the magazine.